Good morning, everyone. Welcome to just another episode of Just My Thoughts. Um, hadn't made a video in like 2 weeks, and I've kind of gotten out of the practice of it. I used to like to do it every week if I could. So just wanted to get in here and do something. So I just want to talk about some thoughts I've been having. Um, so I made this revelation like 2 weeks ago. If you saw my last my last video, you'll know I'm talking about enough sleep and realizing the effect, just how much, excuse me, just how much it's affecting me. I just didn't realize it. And I've been thinking, so I was thinking back on when I used to watch sitcoms growing up, and I would find myself always falling for some of the characters, and then later would come to a realization of I'm not really super attracted to this person, right? For example, say the wife on Everybody Loves Raymond. I believe her character's name was Deborah. I don't know the actress that plays her. Trying to think of other examples. Escaping me at the moment, but I definitely remember her. And but there was a time just like I'm like, yeah, you know, I found her attractive, and I'm realizing it's not so much that I found her attractive as much as I found the concept of her character attractive. It's sort of like when I look at Sideways, right? Sideways is like one of my favorite movies. And the main character, Miles, has this love interest whose name is escaping me right now. She's blonde. She's cutish, curly hair. But I really liked her character and found her character to be very attractive. Um, Even when I think of Daredevil, the series for Netflix, Wilson Fisk had a love interest. Her name was Vanessa. Oh man, Vanessa was like the 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 woman I've been looking for all my life. She was smart, sophisticated. She was really into art. She was sort of she worked at this gallery. She was sort of like an art dealer. She was stylish, into wine and good food. And I'm thinking about these things and I'm realizing it's not so much the women themselves, it's the concept. It's the concepts that I'm actually in love with. Again, that's really, I think that's really strange. And I know there are guys that'll be like, I don't give a shit about the concept. Like they never even see it. They're like, hey man, how does she look? Is she have nice breasts, nice ass, cute face. Like they're all like all over the physical. Like they never think about anything else. And it's so weird to me. Like I'm just realizing like how much the concept really takes a hold. Like I can even think of like women that I've liked in the past that I might have had like a crush on. Like I'm thinking of this one particular woman in particular, but it's happened with several different women. But this one particular woman, we spoke daily, but she didn't really reveal much about herself. Um, I don't know. I find this to be the case with a lot of women, actually. Well, in my experience, I'm not saying all women are like this, but I'm just saying a lot of women I've talked to, they don't really come out and overly reveal about a lot about themselves. Like you kind of, it almost, yeah, I'm not gonna say that. That's probably not a good idea, but I will say I was putting together a backstory for her based on the information that I knew of her that she had shared with me, and I was sort of like filling in the blanks and creating this person, this concept of a person that I thought was amazing, I guess, at the time. And nope, that shit is just the end of sleep, just filling in the blanks and kind of showing me what I want to see. It's so weird. It's so weird to realize this part of me that's just sort of all right. So I have double masculine NF sleep, and basically my demons are both masculine. My saviors are both feminine, and I my first thought is to say that you are most definitely your masculine parts. Like you're your feminine part. You're all your parts. Don't get me wrong, but those masculines really play a huge role in who you are. Now there are varying degrees, okay? Because you could be my type. You could be, have the masculine demons. But if I was say sleep last, and that's where both of these functions come together in sleep. So if I was sleep last, I wouldn't be as strongly affected by these masculine parts, right? But because I'm not sleep last, I actually have sleep third, which makes it my hobby function, right? I mean not hobby function, my hobby animal. So it basically means I'm trying to sleep all the time. Like I love sleep. Um, it's had a huge effect on me. And that's when I'm consciously trying to sleep, let alone when my mind's just running, just doing it on autopilot. And then I'm just realizing its effect is just crazy. Um, it feels like the NF sleep is the air that I breathe or the water that I swim in, however you want to define it, right? Because my saviors are feminine. They're the ST, and I can see that. I can see the ST when I speak to people. Um, like once we get into a conversation or we'll start having a debate or something. I can see the ST, And to be honest, sometimes people find it overwhelming. But the ST is really, as much as people, there are some people who probably would disagree with this on me. The ST is really so small in comparison to the NF. It's it's there. It's always been there. Like I'm looking back, like the ST, I feel like I'm really only just gotten a hold of it. Like I had the S all my life, but the T I didn't have before. I mean, I had it, I just couldn't really access it. Okay, but now I can access the ST, so it feels new to me still. I feel like a kid with a new toy, you know. Um, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. But the NF has always been there. I can look back ever since I was a kid, and I can see it. And yeah, like a while back, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was telling him, you know how you have memories of sometimes a phrase or something would just stick in your head. You don't know why. Like for example, when I first saw the Fatal Fury movie, anime movie, I had to be, I don't know, like 13, 14 maybe, when I saw this movie, and enjoyed the movie. I like the Fatal Fury series. But there was this one particular line that just stuck with me. When one character was saying, the one, no, it was like the like four bad guys, and the three of the bad guys were having sort of like a secret uh, meeting about their leader because they were concerned he was trying to collect like all this armor that would make him like a god or something. And they're talking about it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, man, we should be concerned because I'm worried he's getting out of hand. This, that, whatever." And the one guy, Jamin, who's like a Muay Thai fighter, I like Jamin. He was pretty cool. He says something that just stuck with me. He says, "I don't understand why he's doing this. True power comes from within." That shit just stayed in my head all this time, all these years. And yeah, that is just it just connected to the NF. I feel like the functions will attract the functions will attract like attracts like, sort of like in science, like attracts like. I think it's the same thing with the functions. I think you attract different things from all parts of your functions, right? Like I've recently taken more of an interest in chess. I've always loved chess, but I've recently taken more of an interest in chess. Um, but I haven't dedicated as much time as I would like to it. But I've always wanted to, and I think the reason for that is it's attractive to my TE, my extroverted thinking, and I think a lot of thinkers really get into chess. Either you're a lead thinker, like a savior thinker, or you have like a masculine thinking demon. That's possible as well. Um, but otherwise, I don't think you're really interested in chess. I also think that's probably the explanation as to why you don't see as many women interested in chess. Because women tend to be more feeling dominant, although not all women are feeling dominant. So I don't want to say that there are definitely thinking dominant women. But as a whole, if you were looking at how it lays out, women tend to be more thinking dominant, and just like men, I mean, women tend to be more feeling dominant, just like men tend to be more thinking dominant. But there are certainly feeling dominant man. Um, so yeah, I got off topic. Uh, but yes, I think the functions will grab on and hold on to things. And I hold my memories, like you hold your memories in your masculine decider. So that would be my masculine introverted intuition. So by it being that particular piece that's attracting it as well as is being held in there, of course, I have no problem holding on to that. So yeah, I'm trying to remember where I was going with this. I was just trying to say that it's shocking how much the NF is a part of me. And like, it's weird. I'm realizing that people see it more than I do, actually. And I say that because there have been several times in the past, I don't know how many months, where people I talk to on kind of like a daily basis will mention like, man, your values is really important to you. And they're mentioning it. They're saying it, but they're saying it indirectly because they don't really understand what they're saying, but they are saying it. The one guy at works, he's always like, man, you don't live on this planet. He's like, you're off in la la land. You're not in the grounded in the real world. And in a sense, that is true. In a sense, that is true. My values are abstract values. So things like honor are very important to me. Just all kinds of abstract values. And if you're NF, it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to share the same values. It just means we both have abstract values. Like I've held a love for Stoicism, and I find that Stoicism just really just hits the NF just right. Yeah, that works out really well. It almost makes me wonder, like when I read some of the stuff, I'm like, man, was Alexander the Great the same type as me? I mean, I'm sorry, not Alexander the Great. Marcus Aurelius. Was he the same type as me? Because some of the stuff he says, it just relates so perfectly to me. I'm just like, man, it makes me wonder, was he the same type as me? So, yeah, man, I'm out of practice. I can feel it. I feel it so out of practice. But also, let me just go over some other thoughts I've been rolling around, I guess. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about play and sleep and how I've been seeing those two play out. And state the obvious. State play and sleep are like two different modes of thought. Well, I'm saying thought in this context of like your brain functioning, I guess. I'll put it like this: play, I can see, is very much of me doing these videos, right? These videos feel like my ST play, but they also feel like my NT blast, right? Because a lot of times in these videos I'm giving you the concept that I worked out and how it works. I'm explaining it. But I can feel myself in play mode. Like when I'm in play mode, it's like let me think, how can I explain this? All right, so let me use this as an example, as the visual illustration, right? So when I'm in play mode, this is me, right? I'm here, I'm floating in space in the moment, okay? So when I'm in play mode, I can feel myself grasping when I'm having the conversation. And it's like all my extroverted functions. So I can feel myself go up, down, left, right, right? I can grab over here, I can grab over here, I can grab up here, I can grab down here. I can feel myself grabbing information when discussing things with people, right? But I can only go in this general circumference, right? I can only go so far to each side. Now, when I'm in sleep, it's different. When I'm in sleep, it's like, all right, I'm in this space, but I can't grab all the way around. I can only go down. All right. So I'm saying that to say my access to information is different. Um, so when I'm in play, I can grab. I feel myself just grabbing information that I'm just grabbing information that I didn't even know was there. Um, a lot of times it's information that I've collected just over time. Um, it's like accessing, I guess, long term memory. Um, well, I don't know the definitions of long term memory. I don't know exactly how scientifically defined long term memory is. I'll say I'm accessing memory that I've gained over time. Okay, so I can access something that I hadn't been thinking about, hadn't known that was there even. Um, and I can just grab it, okay? Because I'm so in the moment, and I feel like I'm just grabbing resources. Like if something clicks, I can just reach out and grab it. I know what it is. That's the OE. I'm definitely sure that's the OE. It because your play is like both your extroverted functions. So for me, my play is ST. So that's OE and DE, which is my extroverted sensing and my extroverted thinking. So I can feel it like when talking, I can feel I'm most definitely in the moment talking to whoever I'm talking. And I'm thinking as I'm thinking, excuse me. No, what's wrong with me? My voice. Oh no. But I'm thinking as I'm speaking to the person, and I'm like just so in the moment that I'm anticipating stuff, not too far ahead, just seconds out, and I can usually grab something that's related to whatever we're speaking of, and I'm grabbing it out of the extroverted sensing, which is just like facts and data, sensory data that I've collected, and it's going for the thinking. That's what's. It's like the thinking is telling the sensing, "Hey, grab this, grab that," and the sensing's running and grabbing it. So, but like I said, I can grab from all these different areas. I can feel myself grabbing it, but I can't go deep. Um, I can't go. I can only go so far deep in in my thoughts, because it does not seem to be that's how play functions. It's like it's allocated to a different part of your brain. It just keeps you right in the moment. It won't let you go too deep in thought. Um, what'll happen is sometimes if I was sleep, if I was in sleep mode and somebody came to talk to me, I can get this like nice sort of like middle ground sometimes because I'm coming up from the sleep that I can still somewhat access it, but I'm still in play too. And it's like right in between, and it's like a sweet little middle area, right? But most of the time in play, I'm not accessing that at all. I'm just grabbing from my extroverted functions. And then also with play, I've noticed play. I was trying to figure out what the function of it was, and I think what it is, it's a information exchange, or if you want to say trade, however you want to say it. But that's what's going on in the moment. Um, Now, because my play is double feminine, I can't really push. I can't really push hard when I'm trying to get my information. Like I heard somebody describe it. They say it's sort of like being a chameleon. I kind of agree with that. Like it's sort of like, all right, we're talking. You want information. I want information. We're exchanging information, but I have to be subtle about how I go about getting my information. So I have to kind of let the conversation go. I might have some idea, something I want to discuss, something I want to get your opinion on, and stuff like that. Um, so I have to kind of like let you lead, and where play is all in the moment. So I have to let you lead, and then when the opportunity presents itself, I have to kind of slide in where where I want to nudge this thing where I want it to go. All right, so then I can slide in and ask information. I can slide in and ask you what you think about that, or I can, if you're talking about something, I can still slightly nudge you in the direction I want you to go to eventually get you to where I can ask the questions I want to ask. It's very much almost like creating a river, I guess, for a water to flow. Like the water's coming down, and I'm nudging. I want it to go in this direction. I want it to go in that direction. So I can see that's definitely what I'm doing in play. And like I said, my play is double feminine, so it's hard for me to push. That's kind of how I have to do that. Now, if you know anybody who's double masculine, and I know some double masculine plays, they don't have that problem at all. They just will go in there and just sort of push the shit out of you. I worked with a guy like that, and just like fuck, like it's very abrasive. Just like asshole. I didn't want to. Why are you coming in so rough? And it's weird because people will say that my play is kind of harsh. I think it's not really the pushing as much as because my play is still the content of my play is still supported by the NF sleep. So when I do my play, I usually have some question that people are like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" So it's like, I ask what has been called Lawrence questions, which is like, I didn't really think they were that deep of questions, but people would say they're unusual or difficult to ask. And you just ask a question like, hey, well, fuck, it's escaping me now, but just questions about philosophy or questions about your stance on certain things. Sometimes questions about religion. Like me and my wife was having a conversation just last night, and she was telling me like, man, you can't be asking people about religion. You can't ask him about politics and something else she was saying. And I was trying to explain to her, like, it's not that simple for me. Like, I get what you're saying, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be able to really control myself. Like, my thoughts wander and I got so many interests, and I'm not thinking about, if you don't want to discuss the subject. Like, I just think if you don't want to discuss the subject, you'd be like, oh, I'm not interested in that. That's what I would do. People don't really do that for whatever reason. So they'll try to discuss the subject, and then it'll usually go badly if it makes them uncomfortable or whatever. Um, but yes, that's how I see the play working. And when it comes to sleep, the sleep is just so much deeper. The sleep, I'm not grasping all over in the circumference. I'm going whatever the thought is, whatever the subject matter is, and I'm going straight down. Like, I'm going down deep in thought. I'm tracking that down to its source. I'm trying to figure out, where is it going? How is it going there? I don't know. I'm thinking about different things. But I am definitely in the NF, and I can see that it's just two different ways of, okay, not thinking. It's two different ways of processing information. That's a better way of saying it. So when I'm in play, when I'm in the moment, it's just like boom, 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 boom. It's like playing, it's like playing racquetball. Like, you're hitting it back, and then you're anticipating, and you're grabbing, and you're hitting it back, and it's like going back and forth. But in when I'm in sleep, it's not like that at all. When I'm in sleep, it's like deep diving. Like, I'm just like, woof, and I'm just down. Like, there's no grabbing anything else. It's just whatever the area I'm focused on, I'm just going straight down with it. And but I'm always trying to sleep. That's like my favorite thing to do. I think it's my favorite animal. Your third animal is, they call it your hobby animal. Like, it's a thing you just love to do for fun. Um, Although I like all my animals, yeah, I'm always trying to sleep. But I can see the utility for all the animals. Like, I can see my animal order goes play, then consume, then sleep, then blast, right? I can see me going out and play, having a discussion with the tribe, exchanging information, and the play is usually like, I have an idea of something, right, that I've been processing in sleep. Most of the time, I've been processing it in sleep, and I kind of know I've been giving that thought some area. Giving that area some thought, right? So then I go out with play, and I ask the tribe and get their thoughts on it, right? And I'm building. Well, we'll come back to the figure again, right? So I'm building this. Let's say he's the concept, right? So when I go to the tribe can see this, right? It's a side view or whatever. So this is their take on the concept, right? So I can see, like, oh, okay, yeah, he's got spiky hair. His thing is kind of blowing at the bottom. He had the red belt. I can see like a leg here. It's hard to make it out because everything is on the side, right? So that's what I'm doing in play. Um, I'm going to ask everybody's opinion, trying to see how they see the concept. And then I go to consume, where I'm consuming more information on the subject and I'm coming to my own understanding of it. So then now the concept does like this, right? Because I can see what the tribe was saying, but I can also make my own judgment as what's going on here too. So when it started off like this and I couldn't see the concept as well, now I got a much better picture of the concept, right? So it's like I've gathered information from other people on how this looks, then I've gathered data and come to my own conclusions on how this looks. Then I will sleep on this, right? So I sleep on this. And when I sleep on it, I just take the whole thing down and I come out with a much better, even more better understanding of how the concept looks, you know. And then, so that's the play, the consume, and the sleep. Now, when I get all the way down to the blast, that's when I got this whole concept fully fleshed out and I understand how it works. That's when I come back and say, hey, this is Goku Black. He's a great fighter. You can see he's, I don't know, he's got a Saiyan body. He's got spiky hair. He has this earring up here that lets him do the fusion. He's kind of cocky, but he's really strong. Like, that's when I can give you a much better defined understanding of the concept. I can break down how the concept works, why the concept works as it does. And I can see, like, my animal flow revolves so much around information. That's why I thought I was info dominant at first, because it's so much about the information for me. So yeah, that, hopefully that made sense. It may not have. Sorry about that if it didn't. But yes, that's the animal flow. That's how my animal flow particular works. For my type. But I really just want to give you some explanation of how I've been understanding the sleep and play. It's interesting. The blast, I didn't really quite understand for a while, but it seems like the blast is always running in the background, right? It's like taking bits of information. It's like this assembly line. Like, my animals are running off an assembly line, going back, and there's information being passed back. And the blast is all the way on the end, and it's working out bits of information. And it's like, let me see how I can describe this. It's like say you live in a house with 2 floors, and let's say they go from the first floor to the second floor. You have a long set of steps that goes up, right? The blast will just drop like this Amazon package, like this box falls down the stairs. Boom, 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 boom. Out of nowhere, right? It can be random. You could be taking a shower. You could be just walking down the street. You can be talking to somebody. Something in your head just triggers this. And then, this whole thing that's been processing in the background all this time just comes falling down the stairs from the attic. Boom. And you're just like, oh, here's this box of this thing I've been trying to figure out, and the blast has worked it out. So the blast is always like it's running in the background for me. And I could just see, like, how all the animals are interconnected and working together to achieve whatever the goal is. It's usually a understanding of information, processing of the information, and figuring out how the information works. Um, yeah, it's so interesting. Like, I am fascinating to me. And I know that that might sound a little vain. I know I don't mean it in a vain way, but I am truly fascinated by the way my mind works. Now, you know what's frustrating slightly is no one else shares that fascination. So it's weird. But yes, it's very fascinating to me. It's sort of like I feel like I kind of hit the lottery in terms of type, like with the type I am, with my animal flow, with my masculines and my demon. I mean, with my saviors and my demons, everything. I feel like I just hit the lottery. Now, I feel like everybody should feel like that, but of course, I know that's not true. Um, and then people will speculate on what's the best type, this type better than this type. In truth, there is no best type. There is no best type. It's what you might like the best, but there is no um objectively best type. And I think the reason I feel like I hit the lottery is because I really like who I am as a person. So that it just falls that I really like how my functions and everything plays out. And if my functions and stuff did not play out that same way, I would not be the same person. And because I wouldn't be interpreting and outputting information the same way. Um, so it'd sort of be like if I was like, oh, I want to be a different type, it would be like want to be a different person. I love who I am as a person. But at the same time, there are some functions that seem to be harder than others. I've heard that. I suspect there is a lot of truth to that, but I can 100% say because I don't have those functions. Like SI, I've heard is a really difficult function. I don't have SI. I have SC. So, but I will say that I know a few people with SI, and it SI can lead you to be very controlling because the sensory is very important to you. So like all the SI people I know are very much about like cleanliness. Like I mean everybody wants to be clean. Don't get me wrong. But like I'm talking about guys that like wash their hands like 20 times a day. Like the guy I work with, this dude is constantly washing his hands. Like I always the people who I think tend to be germaphobes, I wonder if they're SI DOMs, like their dominant functions is extroverted sensing. I don't know, I'm just guessing. But I will say they're super anal about the cleanliness aspect. Super wash their hands. Um, like this goes here, this goes there. Super highly organized. Which I can appreciate. I like efficiency. So, um, but it's not even just that aspect of it. Like the sensory is personal to them. So like if you ask me what my favorite word is, I really like the word chronicle. Um, it was a word that I picked up from a comic book when I was young. I used to read this comic book called The Warlock Chronicles. And I wasn't familiar with the word, and I just liked the way it sounds. just kind of rolls off the tongue. Chronicle. I just like the way it sounds. But other than that, I don't have any favorite words. Like words are, for the most part, words are interchangeable for me. I need to express something. I use a word, and a lot of times, the word that I use is not efficient. As much as I like efficiency, I could be better at that. I want to get better at that. So a word I might use is basically interchangeable, and I didn't really get the word as detailed as I would have liked. So sometimes I might use the wrong word in a certain way or something. I might use the wrong word in place of a better word that could better express what I'm trying to say. But for me, the words are interchangeable. That's not my focus. My focus is on the intention. What am I trying to communicate? What am I trying to express to the person? The words are just the tools that I use to do so. So it isn't that important. If I need to hang a picture and I need to get this nail in a wall, the hammer is the preferred tool. But if I don't have the hammer, I'll bang it into the wall with this wrench. It's fine. I'll bang it in the wall with this stick. It's fine. Like, to me, that's how words are. Whatever, as long as the job gets accomplished, the tool is not really very important. However, if one is a SI user, especially a high SI user, like either like a savior SI or maybe a masculine SI, it's very different for them. So like, they're very particular about the words. And it can be, for me, it can be sometimes difficult to talk to them, which they would probably say is difficult to talk to me, because I am not as careful with the words. This is just a difference in function. Difference in function and how they play out or whatever. So sounds like the wife's up. I'm sorry, what was I saying? SI. So I will give you an incident that I just realized. This happened months ago, but I actually kind of just realized this is what happened. I sent a friend of mine a text. We will occasionally text each other stuff, like usually motivational quotes or something. And I was reading one of my books on Stoicism, and I came across this like nice thing in Stoicism where they were talking about something. I don't even remember what they were talking about, but I text him this quote, and I said, "Hey, here's a nice bit of Stoicism to start off your day." So later, he revealed to me that he did not care for that. And what he said was, "You don't understand what the word Stoicism means to me." Now, at the time, it caught me off guard. Like, I didn't know what he was talking about. Later, my mind put it together. Like, oh, that's a SI thing. Like, for him, the word Stoicism means one particular thing, and he seems to have a bad association with that word, so he doesn't care for it. Now, for him, he I'm guessing maybe just got triggered by the word. For me, I'm just like, the word is pointless. I'm just trying to communicate the sentiment, the thought behind it. I don't get caught up on the word, but that's just our different functions interpreting things differently. So yeah, that's sort of like a difference with extroverted sensing versus introverted sensing, which honestly, that whole experience gave me a better understanding of SI, because when I heard SI, I didn't truly understand what they meant about the sensory is personal. Like, I understood it somewhat, but I knew it had to be more in depth than I just really like this shirt. You know what I mean? Like, I like shirts. I have plenty of shirts that I like, but at the same time, if something happens to it, I just get another shirt. Like, it's no biggie, you know. For them, no, that shit is personal. Um, it's very important to them. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, a word is personal to you. Like I said, I like Chronicle. It's my favorite word, but it's not personal. I just like it. Whereas for him, no, that word has a bad meaning. He has a bad association with it. He does not like it. Like I was hearing. I remember watching this video where these guys were talking about they got kicked off a forum for using a word, and they thought the reason the guy kicked him off was he had SI and he had a really bad association with the word, right? And basically the word is, well, I could use the word because my channel is so small. I doubt YouTube would notice it. The word is retarded. Um, and the guy, I guess, grew up with his sister had some issues, and people used to tease his sister when he was young in elementary school. So for him, people used to call his sister that word or whatever. He had a bad association with it. Um, so these guys, here you are, like 30, 40 something years later, and they're just discussing something, and they say, "Oh, well, that movie is retarded." This guy automatically gets triggered. All right, and even after they apologize, like, "Look, dude, sorry, we didn't really mean nothing by the word. We just use it to express like a feeling or whatever, but it wasn't meant to be in the more, one, we wasn't speaking about your sister at all, and two, it wasn't meant to be more by the medical definition. It's just a social expression." um yeah, the guy didn't care. The guy, he basically kicked them off of his forum and whatnot. So that's another example of like just SI and how it plays out. So I don't know. That sounds interesting to me. I wouldn't want it. Like, no offense, I wouldn't want to. It seems like a bit of a hassle. Like, but it sounds interesting how it plays out. But like I said, I heard SI is one of the more difficult functions to work with. But the trade off is you get NE, extroverted sensing, which I think is fucking hella cool. Um, I don't have NE, obviously, because I don't have SI. But NE, when you're looking at like all the abstract concepts and like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I wouldn't change my NI for it, but it just sounds cool though. Anyway, I think we've come to the end of this video. I've rambled a bit. I really just wanted to make another video. It's been a while, and some thoughts that I've been working through. So this is the conclusion. This is just another episode of Just My Thoughts. Thank all one of you guys for coming and watching. Until next time, have a nice day.